And here we...
Absolutely. Let's start.
Yes, sir.
We're back again.
Back again.
Got your co-host AD Factorede and
Co-host Tom Leffler.
yeah, so we're ready to get into it today. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the engagement online and everything. So today we're gonna unpack a very exciting trip. So Tom, where did you go recently?
Okay, so here we go.
Yes.
So I went to Costa Rica.
Yes.
I went on a retreat in Costa Rica. It was a week-long retreat. It was in like the Liberia region.
Yes.
So this is like the Guanacaste province on the Pacific side of Costa Rica. And where I stayed was basically on the beach. It was like almost like its own private beach.
Nice. That's awesome. And have you ever been to a retreat before of this magnitude or anything?
First ever retreat. I've been part of like a men's group before, but
Yes.
this is like my first, like, okay, this is a retreat we're doing. First time, first time traveling out of the country, like solo. So I did in college, like through like a, I guess like a winter program, but like you're with people that you kind of know. But it's like my first time like traveling to different countries, solo by myself. Knew nobody going there. Really knew nothing about the retreat itself. Like very limited like information on it when going there. But I went for it, and honestly, I booked it a while ago, probably 6 months prior to going, and I waited to get approval to get in, and I got approval, and then honestly probably like 3 or 4 weeks prior to going, to this approval to go in and book my flight, I didn't want to go. I was scared to go. It was a weird feeling because like this is something I've always wanted to do for a long time, like the last like year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
And then when I actually came to it, just like my life events, just like me not being good with myself, I guess, and losing trust in myself, I was like, okay, we're going to another country. Some things might get unpacked that you might not want to experience, but I realize now that, and even into this trip, that like when you like scared in a healthy way, that's when you gotta jump. That's when you gotta go. So like all of me was like, I don't really want to go. I'm not gonna book this flight. But I'm like, no, well, it's exactly why you're going to book this flight. Yeah. And I'm a different person because of it. It really, truly, I'm hoping set a positive impact for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. That's fantastic. It's very interesting that you said that. Like when something like gets your heart rate up, it actually is a decision of significance because it's a turning point, right? It's a breaking point. It's like this could be, one day or day one, right? So, going into the trip, like what were your expectations?
So I tried to
I'm saying. Take me back to before the trip.
Before the trip, so again, they sent out like a thing like like what you should do like a month prior, 2 weeks prior, and a week prior. So again, so I will say this: I don't advise anyone doing any psychedelics. I advise that there's plenty more options like meditation, breath work. If you do psychedelics, I recommend doing it in a professional environment with specialists. But so I was doing a psilocybin retreat, so they sent out like, hey, you got to stop 4 weeks. These type of, if you're on medications like SSRIs or any like a whole list of medications that someone might be on, you got to stop these 4 weeks prior going. Then 2 weeks prior, stop eating red meat. Even though we were big red meat guys, stop eating red meat. Stop like no alcohol, no pot. I don't smoke weed. Like some other type of foods, and then a week prior was like no caffeine, no dairy, as well as the other things, and like a few other things. So that was like the physical preparation. But then they also give you stuff like mental preparation, like hey, the few weeks leading up to it, really don't input any information because and that's something I've actually carried to after this. Is not because I before going on the trip, like the 2 weeks prior, I stopped like really consuming content like podcasts, just trying to really limit my social media in general. And actually it was hard because I love podcasts, I love consuming information, but I did that prior to the trip. And they advise that, and I also say like, hey, spend time with yourself, keep an open mind, go from just relaxing, try to meditate, journal, get out in nature, spend time with yourself in silence or listen to good music. Reduce your inputs, which I think for anybody is good to do. So I was mindful of that, and I did that prior. And so like the mental preparation was, okay, keep an open mind, reduce inputs, spend time outside, reduce stress as much as possible. And like the physical was like, okay, if I was on any medications, basically stop any ones all of them that you can. No alcohol, no other drugs, and then like certain foods like dairy, like sugary foods, which I don't eat, but like processed foods, no processed foods, like 2 weeks leading up to it. And so yeah, it's like going into it is like kind of like a cleanse almost in a sense. Yeah. Cleanse like yourself, like your mental, physical, spiritual, like your soul. And honestly, it was kind of tough. I mean, I love caffeine, so that was the hard thing for me.
Wow, yeah, like completely cutting out coffee.
Yeah.
So what you do to like counteract that? Like
I was taking maca. It's like a adaptogen, and so that helped. And honestly, I didn't do. So they said cut caffeine 1 week prior. I didn't. I did it like 3 days prior. But I started like I limited. I'm not a coffee drinker anyway, but I did tea. But I reduced like I think it's good not to go. I guess if you go cold turkey, I think it's better to wean off. So if you drink coffee, I would say okay, do half calf, half decaf, and then maybe do that for a couple days, and then we just do like a green tea. Do that for a couple days, and then maybe do nothing. Instead of going from drinking 3 cups of coffee
to just nothing.
People get
your body will start jittering and everything.
Get headaches and kind of go through like a little withdrawal process. And that's why I saw people at the retreat, because they had no alcohol, no caffeine at this place, no TVs. So
withdrawing.
So people had like a lot of caffeine headaches.
Wow.
Because they had no caffeine.
And it took away from their experience, probably.
I think, well, probably part of it, but I think it like kind of taught them like, hey, maybe I should listen prior to going here. Like, the majority of people didn't stop like caffeine prior, so like a lot of people had like caffeine. But it's cool though, because it was a week. You see, like by day 5, again, we talked about like usually 5 or 6 days.
Clear.
They're like, oh, like the caffeine headache went away. Like you know, like most things is like 5 or 6 days your body kind of like readjusts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like leading up to it. So I have done psilocybin prior to this experience, so I have had experience with that, but never in like this type of setting. I've been very mindful of the setting when doing it in the past. This is the first time like I'm actually with like a shaman in the environment. So I was very much looking forward to that, like a real like experience. So and I was just open-minded. I wasn't really. I'm a type of person like when something's coming up, like I really try not to like envision or try to like think or hype things up.
Premonitions or like going with like
presetting
your heart.
I want this to be the best experience ever. Like I'm just like, hey, I'm open. I'm open to whatever comes. Like I do manifest and like create like goals for myself and like a vision for my future. But like say like if I'm going to hang out, like excited for a trip per se. Me personally, I don't like. Probably to a fault, like I don't really like hype myself up and think about all the stuff we're gonna do. I'm like, I'm excited and like,
just good.
But I'm here now. I'm like, I'm gonna get through the day and then like kind of go into it open-minded.
So you're like more present though.
Yes, 100%.
You're not like zoning out and stuff like that.
No, I'm not like.
Or watching videos. Yeah. Watching hours and hours of content of people talking about their experiences doing it. It's like, how do you have an authentic experience if you spent like 100 hours hearing other people's experience?
I think that's a very good point. I think you should. Especially if you're doing like a retreat and meditation or psychedelics realm, I think it's not good at going in and like taking in people's experience or them sharing what they actually experience, because that could, I think, might hinder your experience, because you might have preconceived notions or you might go with a bias like, oh, I want to get that out of this experience. So I think it's the best thing, and I think they advise that as well, just like, hey, go in open-minded, just try to reduce inputs, stress before going, just go try to be in the best mental state or declutter your mind, and just whatever comes.
So it was 5 days in total, right?
7.
7 days. So what was day 1 like? Walk us through day 1.
So day 1, flying into Costa Rica. I was the first one in the shuttle picking me up.
Nice.
And the driver, probably like our age, like late 20s, early 30s. His name was Mariano, great guy. I was like, hey, like he was smiling, like all positive, like good energy. I'm like, okay, cool. Like the van wasn't sketchy, it was good. Like, and I asked him like, hey, like, have you like. How do people like this experience? He's like, actually, I did this experience 2 weeks ago for the first time. He said it was unbelievable, like one of the best experiences of my life. So, okay, just got in the van that's gonna pick up to go here, and like the first thing I got is a positive like person. I see he's in a good mood. I see he's got a light. He's joyful. He had an amazing experience there. So okay, cha-ching, check. That's a good. And then we go to the next stop of picking up the other people, the participants in the retreat, and a nurse comes in. She was a really nice person, a little older than me, and kind of cool. Like we just shared, like it was our first time doing anything like this as well. Shared our story, like how we got into like psychedelics, like similar podcasts, like the Tim Ferriss podcast. Michael Pollan wrote a book about like all different like drugs, like peyote, even caffeine, like marijuana, like all the different rituals and traditions around psychedelics and just drugs in general.
Yeah.
And then like older people came in the van as well.
Wow.
Like people in their like late 60s, early 70s.
Wow.
So there was, in my van going to the place, there was, I think, 4 or 5 of us. So
Nice.
I was talking to the driver, I was talking to the girl, and it was just like, good people, good environment. So I show up there, check in. It's like an hour away from the airport, and again, I'm here in Costa Rica. Don't really know the people yet, but just check in. And the person at the front desk, super nice, big smile on their face. The place is beautiful.
Yes.
We walk in, and it's all nice and white, clean. They bring me to the room. My room is a 50-yard walk from the beach.
Wow.
And
you can literally hear the water.
hear the water.
crashing.
She's open the door. Like I have like a little like outdoor like patio. I could sit there and really watch the ocean. And it's a nice like it's a private place, and it's like on the beach. It's secluded. I feel safe, and everyone I'm interacting with, like just the facilitators, huge smiles on their face. It's just very positive thus far. And then we have like our first like meeting. I think it's like at like 4 o'clock, and like there's 11 of us total, and I'm the youngest. And then there's one person, the person who got in the girl who's a little older than me, and then the rest are people in their 60s and 70s.
Wow.
So it was very interesting, and most of them never have done psilocybin before.
Wow.
So a lot of them, they're kind of nervous, they don't know what to expect, all that. So we kind of give a debriefing. We meet the team, again, all different like walks of life, beautiful people, just positive energy, smiling. The weather is beautiful. It's 95 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. There's like Buddha statues. You're kind of like on like a little bit like so the beach kind of like goes up a little bit, like on like a cliff, so like kind of overlooking the water.
Wow.
Gorgeous. There's like cliffs.
It's literally the
beside.
stuff that you could see in a movie. It's perfect.
Literally, the place was beautiful, immaculate. There's no caffeine on property. There's no alcohol on property. There's no TVs on property.
Wow.
They advise like, hey, like if you can, put your phone away. Like try to avoid the phone. And then they give out the schedule for the week. It's like we have like set things to do, but it's very flexible. It's not like every half hour, every hour of the day is planned. It's like, hey, we like breakfast. We all the meals are served in one place, buffet style. All healthy food, like most of it, I think it's all gluten free, no red meat, a lot of vegetables, fruit, basically paleo. Besides red meat, they have like fish, chicken, all that stuff, and set meal times like breakfast, lunch, dinner. But then there's like fasting in there with like ceremony days. And so we check. So Saturday, like we get in, we have dinner together again, just meeting the facilitators, and like a lot of these people have done like ayahuasca, they've done all these like drugs, and like, or some of them are just like they've never done any. This is like their first time being there, but like just such interesting people. Like not what you see in New Jersey.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just
like this person like specializes in breath work and meditation, and like they're just like so calm and just like this, and then this person is like going to be the yoga instructor again, so calm, and then like this other person was like kind of did talk about experiencing the jungle, doing ayahuasca for like 2 weeks, and like all these like just such a different environment. And then Sunday was the first ceremony. And we had breakfast together, spend the day outside on the beach. They have like boogie boards you could take in the hotel because it's Pacific Ocean, so there's nice waves, not like Jersey Shore. So they're like 5 or 6 beautiful waves, like 5 or 6 foot like nice waves. Like of course I'm an ocean guy, so I go we have boogie board. I'm like boogie boarding, and I go into the first so there's for the week there's 3 psilocybin ceremonies. Sunday night, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday night. And then there's a holotropic breath work, which I think was Thursday. And then there was a cacao ceremony, which I believe was Friday morning. And then there was an ecstatic dance Friday afternoon. And then Saturday was checkout. So going into the first ceremony, I had an intention going into this. It was kind of cool too. Sunday, like we all meet like early, like after breakfast. Well, wake up and do body work yoga. So we're in like this shala thing, like even closer to the ocean, and like it's like 7:30 in the morning. We're doing like it's warm, so like you're doing yoga, stretching with like meditation component before breakfast, which is beautiful. Like and I've been doing yoga since actually. And it was just like the yoga instructor was one of the best I've ever been with. Like his like presence, his cadence, everything. And so like I'm with all these people. Like again, we're all in the morning. We're not caffeinated. Didn't eat yet because there's no food or anything.
Wow.
And just like we're just doing like the yoga. Then we go eat breakfast. Again, beautiful people. Just great conversations. Then we have like our, I guess like our real meeting. It's like that day. It's like, hey, write out actually what you want to work through on this experience on a piece of paper and put it in this basket. Like
so all of you just put it in that basket,
in
right?
that basket. That was like the first.
You didn't put your name on it or anything?
We put our name on it.
Okay.
And then we fold up, put in this basket. And I didn't know what was gonna happen with that paper later on. And then, so they like say, like, okay, like our first ceremony is going to be tonight, same place, like the Shala like hut thing, at like 5:30. And
do you mind saying what you wrote down or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main three things I went into this experience. Well, the main thing I wanted out of this experience was to be excited for my life again, want to live, believe and trust and have faith that everything will work out and everything is figure outable without a doubt. Going back to my experience like in the hospital with a bacteria infection, I lost faith and hope and I didn't want to live anymore. So that's something I've been working on, and so that was the main thing. It's like, hey, I want to be excited to live. I want to live. I want to live like life is. I want life to be. Life is beautiful. I'm blessed to be here. I want to have tremendous faith that, hey, no matter what happens, the worst things impossible that could happen to me, it's going to work out. I can get through it. And that's faith in the big man, God, universe, whatever higher power that is. And then the other thing was like, let go of my past, let go of whatever happened, let go and accept myself and love myself. That's what I wanted to work on. And so going into that first ceremony, I had a great headspace. Like, again, I was like, I'm going to go in just like, positive. So like so before I'm like I put my headphones in and I'm like dancing on the beach like dancing in the water.
Legs,
everyone else is all nervous because like
sandy your toes. You're just like
like
the white man's just like American Psycho.
Yeah, I literally have headphones in, like it's like sunny out. I'm like just like in my bathing suit, just like dancing on the beach. I'm probably like, what the heck is this guy doing?
Grooving too. You're feeling. You're like.
Oh, I was feeling myself.
You ever seen Van Damme, like his memes, like the French guy who used to do the splits in all of his Universal?
Oh yeah.
You know how he dances and he does like the hip,
and
he has his pants written up short. Yeah, I can just imagine you
I was rocking out, and I was in my own world. But I was like, I'm gonna be whatever. I'm not going with it. I'm just gonna be whatever happens. And so again, it's cool because like we're in a hut, so it's like okay, so it's like 5:30, sun's coming down, and we go in the hut and like. Everybody has like basically your own mattress.
Wow.
Own mattress. You have like a pillow, a blanket. You have a bucket in case you purge.
Yeah.
Like throw up like tissue. I brought my journal and like they say like brought an eye mask.
Yeah.
And like they say like the shamans that are running, they're like, hey, we ask that you don't touch anybody.
Yeah.
We ask that you don't converse with anybody around you.
Yeah.
And if you have to use the bathroom, we have people outside that will guide you to and from the bathroom.
Right.
They'll make sure you're okay. Like after if you're in there for a while, they'll like knock on the door, but they'll have someone like really walk with you back and forth. At the end of it, security's gonna be around, so the ocean is off limits, the pool. So I felt so safe.
Yeah.
Because like they made sure you went. They had security out there after the event. Like made sure you went to your room, that you were accounted for, that you weren't wandering around. So. It was the best setting, and then they said like, hey, this experience, we're going to try to create the most positive experience. Whatever comes, and we're not going to tell you what you should feel, what you shouldn't experience. We're going to play music, and I was so happy because like my spot was right next to the speaker.
Oh, so you got
and I was
nice
like,
acoustics.
Let's go. And I'm laying
fresh.
I'm laying next to a guy who's like in his 70s. I'm like,
wow.
This is cool. And he's never done mushrooms before. Yeah. So I'm laying there. I'm going to give the doses, and everyone's like kind of nervous. They start playing music, and its sun starts setting. We did meditation prior to taking the mushrooms, and again, prior to this, they did like do interviews, like, hey, what have you done before? What your doses should be like. So we kind of like went through that process. They did like a medical exam with us prior, like checked your blood pressure, all that. They have a nurse on staff. They have their own like kind of ambulatory area. Yeah. They do IVs. They could do all that. So felt tremendously safe.
Yeah.
And so that was prior, and then. In the ceremony, we did meditation to start, and then the sun was setting, and they gave the mushrooms out, and then like 45 minutes to an hour started to kick in.
Okay, and what was that like? Walk us through your experience.
Yeah, like it came in, and like again, I think they started off like pretty light, so like I felt it, but not that strong. So it was pretty cool. Like I'm just laying there again. I could be crazy, but like I'm just giving off the energy. Like I'm like I'm like laying, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm just like kind of to the shamans that are like probably like 20 yards away from me on the other side of the shallow. I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. So within like 5 or 10 minutes, like the shaman comes over, he's like, hey, like how you doing over here? I'm like, honestly, I really don't feel it that much. He's like, okay, and they give me more.
Wow.
And after that, about half hour, I start feeling it.
Yes.
And I'm like, and the music's bumping, so I'm starting like you know, like doing this, and like I start laughing. I'm like, I'm in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I'm in a fucking hut right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's shamans over here, but people in their 70s or never did this before. Like, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then she comes over again. She's like, you want more? I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so I'm now like, I put my eye mask on. I'm like sitting upright. I'm just like bumping to the music, and I just feel alive. I'm just having fun. I'm like just being free. I'm like moving around. I'm dancing on my mattress. Like I'm just enjoying life, and I'm just having such a fun time, and like just experiencing joy, and just like not like trying to make this a crazy like introspective experience. I'm just like living. I'm alive. Like I shouldn't be alive. I'm alive right now. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like in Costa Rica doing mushrooms with strangers. Like this is crazy. I'm like, and I'm just like grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for everything. I'm just like having fun, enjoying it. And so it ends, and I'm still high because I did 2 extra doses. So I walk outside. The sky the stars were immaculate. So I go sit. I can't go on the beach, but there's sand area like in a rope before the beach. I just go on a lounge chair and just look at the sky.
Wow.
It was breathtaking. Just the stars.
And it felt like it was right in front of you too. I bet.
There. And then.
The water's in the background.
I hear the water. It was beautiful. And then another guy who was part of the retreat. He was also down by the beach, just like standing there looking. We don't talk to each other, but we're in each other's presence. And he's looking up at the sky, and we're just enjoying this. And I go back to my room, and they actually said by this, like, hey, you could like journal, but we actually recommend taking a video diary of yourself.
Wow.
And so I went back in my room. I look in the mirror. I start laughing at myself. I'm like, you have a mustache. Like, who the heck are you? Like, I start cracking up. I'm like, you're a joke.
You have a video diary though?
I have a video diary.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome.
So like, I'm literally laughing at myself in the mirror. Like, you have a mustache, and then I start dancing. I listen to playing music. I'm like having a good time. I create a video diary, and I'm just like, I got out one set. I'm living.
Wow.
I'm living. I'm excited. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying life. Check. The first ceremony. Check. I'm having fun.
Wow.
Living. Life is, like life's a joke.
Wild.
I mean, it's beautiful and like stuff is serious, but really it's just like, it's just, I'm just lucky to be here. And I'm stop taking myself so seriously and just be happy to be alive. And that's something too, I realized like, through this experience, like the drugs, it helped, I guess, open me up more, but you don't need that to live. I mean, honestly, so that was the first ceremony. And then the next ceremony, actually.
Do you remember that first night going to bed? Like how was that like?
So going to bed, it was actually tough because like I was like wired up and stuff. I didn't sleep that well, but the crazy thing about mushrooms is like I brought my Oura ring to track my recovery and stuff. It doesn't affect like, you know how alcohol, like it would be like your heart rate would go up, your resting heart rate, your HRV will go down. My recovery was fine. I didn't sleep as much, but my recovery was fine. Wow. I woke up the next day a little foggy, but not bad.
Because you had just like, you were wired.
I was wired, So I woke up like, I didn't sleep much there. I woke up every morning at like 5:30.
You go to bed at like 12, 1 or?
Just ceremony nights, I went to bed like 12, 12:30, but other nights I went to bed at like 9 or 10 because we were outside all day.
Yeah, you're just like, I just need to crash.
But it was beautiful. So I woke up the next morning, I go on the beach, watch the sunrise, meditate, ground, journal about my experience, see a few other people just out there like doing it. It's like the beautiful thing is you see people just like sitting on the beach, just like doing meditation, prayer, whatever that is. And I did like my whole prayer, meditation, journaling, all that. And it's just beautiful. And then we kind of, the next morning, like we sit at breakfast and we started talking about it, our experiences. And we also, they set the precedent that like, hey, don't ask anybody about their experience. If they want to share it, they could share it. And also ask them first, like, hey, do you mind if I share mine? So it doesn't, because some people don't, again, it's everyone's doing their own thing.
100%.
So they create a very safe space that's like, hey, like, yo, I just went through this, like, was yours like this? I was like, hey. I was like, hey, like, yo, like, like, if you want to talk, we can talk about our experiences. And most people want to. Some people, they're just like, hey, or they had a table, it's like, hey, you're not quiet table when I talk to you. So it's really
like that's like that table is just like I'm just trying to observe this. 100%.
Because a lot of people, that's the thing.
So it's unspoken. You don't even have to get them out of there.
Nope. Literally reserved for silence.
100%.
And they can do that the whole time.
That's fantastic. That's a safe space.
Yes, super safe.
And they really took account everyone else's experience, like because some people might just want to just make like just have that solitude, even amongst the time of eating.
100%. And so they create a whole safe space again this year.
And some people were probably at that table, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we had like a sharing circle that so we did meditation stuff first, and then we had breakfast, and we had the sharing circle. And again, you didn't have to share if you don't want to, but again, just hearing everyone's shares.
Wow.
Some people didn't have great experiences because that's the thing. Like,
so what happened? Do you remember experiences someone
people,
had?
if you have trauma, sometimes it brings it up.
So someone had like an experience where they experienced the trauma again?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they relived.
Do you mind sharing or?
Well, I'm not going to say exactly
Okay,
trauma, but for example, like say someone someone got stabbed or murdered in their family.
Wow.
Like you go and you could relive that experience.
What?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like that's the thing. You with anything, you don't know. It's not always a good experience.
Wow.
But I realize that most of the experiences are what you need to feel or like.
Things that you've suppressed.
Suppressed,
yes.
Yeah.
You haven't even brought up.
You have to bring it up to let it go. You know. So a lot of people didn't have. I was very fortunate. It was a beautiful experience.
Wow.
It was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life.
Wow.
But some other people didn't have great experiences, and it was like again, that was day one. So like, hey, like whoa, this wasn't cool. Like this. Was,
and they still came back for more, right?
And then they came back for more. And so then, so that was.
How'd they reconcile that? Like going through that. Like, yeah. did you kind of figure out?
Because people were crying, people were like shaking, like because you could kind of see because it was dark, but the shamans would go over and be like, hey, like they would just sit with them or talk with them, like you're okay, like so they would kind of create a space that made them feel safe. But yeah, people were crying, shaking, like they went through.
They were going through it. Yeah.
Because some people were there for different reasons.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
Yeah, so like some people are in it, and so there was
some people may not even have a reason, but they end up in kind of
they felt like I think a lot of them were like I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it
like
just came out of left wing.
So yeah, a lot of people were like, hey, this came up and I wasn't expecting it. It was like, oh my gosh, like a lot of people they see their own death.
Wow.
That's common. Yeah, they see their own death and like them on the deathbed. And like going through that experience. So
really?
Again, it's
that's wild that they see their own death.
Yeah.
And like, man, that's so interesting. Like, do you remember like? So what would that sound like? They said that they were on their deathbed and what would they talk? And what would they talk? And what did they talk about like? Revelations they had in that, or like
they're like, hey, like I was around and all of my relatives around there, and like it's like, oh, I got to spend more time with my family or my daughters, my sons, like I got to spend more time with my family, or I mean, like I regret like doing this or breaking up with my wife or whatever have you. So they kind of had that experience, like
puts them in that retrospective thought, and
so they put them. So maybe they really never thought about their death, or they kind of always should have been, but they haven't. So they're like, oh shit,
that just like took their head. And
it throws
like,
you.
And it's such a real experience, probably.
Yeah, and like the tough part is, and that's also again, all psychedelics. I don't think you should do it. I think if you do, you do it with a medical professional in a safe setting. You're strapped in for 4 hours.
Yeah,
you can't tap out of that. So that's the thing with that. So there's no like once it starts, you're in.
Yeah.
So so that was the first experience. Again, I was very blessed. It was a beautiful experience. And then going into the second ceremony, it was in the morning.
Yeah. So your first experience, you were pretty much present. Like you didn't have any hallucination at all?
No hallucination, no vision.
Like it was just basically just like
feeling alive and just
you were just experiencing everything.
I was just feeling everything, feeling
that's
joy, feeling the music.
That's
just
interesting.
Dance. I was like sitting like cross-legged, just like I literally just like I had my eye mask on. I was like,
meanwhile,
I was laughing so hard. I was like trying to suppress because I was like just like this is
you
so
didn't want to
funny.
ruin someone else's experience.
Yeah, so I was like,
meanwhile, some people were just like
crying,
like
shaking on loops. Yeah, but I was just like put my eye mask on, just like bumping, just like, and I had it was a beautiful experience. But again, other people didn't. So it's so individual.
Yeah. What about day two? What was day two like?
Day two was a day ceremony. It was a longer fast because day one we didn't have dinner, so we fasted from like lunch into the night. And so this one, so this was Tuesday. We had dinner Monday night, and then Tuesday, no breakfast, and we went right into our ceremony. I think it started at like, no yoga that morning. I think around like 8 o'clock. So we went into that, and that one, because I think it was fast longer, was more intense.
So explain what's that mean?
I started, so when the mushrooms came out, I upped my dose. I kind of started to get like, if you do like my experience, like color kind of gets distorted. Like this would kind of be like wavy, like like light kind of starts. So I kind of a little bit of like visual distortions and like color manipulation, and it was just more of like a body, like intense, like I felt it more, so I was just kind of like going through it, and it was during the daytime, so I could see things, and so I could see everybody at this point. Like I could see the shamans clearly, the facilitators, I could see everybody, because the other night was just candlelight, so you couldn't really see everybody. I could only see people by me, and so I kind of just like taking it all in, like seeing everybody's like going through different stuff, just like being curious. Like, I was like nosy, I was like curious. I see people get up, go to the bathroom, and like seeing them like stumble around, like some people like are really cooked or not. It's just like very interesting.
Yeah.
And I brought out my journal and I went through. I started to get revelations, and I was like, I kept writing. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be business, fitness oriented. It's okay to want more out of life. It's okay to like still have feelings. It's okay to be like a hippie, fitness, business, health-minded person. I don't have to be just like the business owner. I could be like a person who's like, yeah, I like to ground. I like to eat organic. I like to make a lot of money. I like to do all these things, and like I don't have to be in a box. I'm like just accepting myself, and like it's okay. And then a song came on.
What was the song?
I have it on my. It's called "The Power of Now."
And what happened? Like what? Because your emotions are like, what happened?
So the song came on. I was having a pretty happy experience, and like I put my hands on my heart and I start bawling, like crying. Instead, I lay back, and it's like a sad, like joyful cry, and it's just accepting my past and accepting my past, and realizing that it's okay to still love somebody, and not be with them, and actually really loving them is not being with them and letting them go, because that's real love. And it hurts and it's awful, but real love for that person is to love them. It's okay to love them still. Because I was getting so frustrated and mad.
Intense, emotional, and that probably came out of left field.
I was expecting the song came out and just
and you had heard the song before.
Never heard the song before.
But it still took you through that.
As soon as the song
came out. And what were some of the mental images going through your head? Like
it was just like, it was going through the mental, with this person, it was going through the mental images of all the times that this person looked at me a certain way, like looked at me like I was their person, that they loved me, and like, you know, all like when someone gives you a look like you're my person. And I was just so egotistical, naive, and didn't even notice it. So it was just a flash through of all the times where I like turn and I see they're looking at me, or they're in there, and I was just like, oh, whatever, I'm doing my thing, like just so oblivious, or just like didn't realize what that was. And it was so sad, because like I was like, there was so many times where I just took it for granted, didn't even realize what that person really felt about me. And it was accepting that it's okay to still love that person, and it's okay to stop, because I was getting so frustrated with myself, like, why do I still care about this person? Why do I still love them? It's been almost like a year and a half. Like, what's going on? Like, and it just didn't make sense. And I was like, why? I kept asking why? But the real answer is like, it's okay.
Wow.
You probably will always love that person.
That's wild.
And that's okay. Accepting that and realizing to really love that person
is to let them
go, because you never loved them the way that they loved you.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to love
even the way that they need to be loved.
Exactly.
Maybe you don't even have.
And that's why, that's why,
100%.
And realizing that I can't love them the way that they deserve to be loved. And that's why I broke up with them, because I couldn't love them the way that they deserve love, or the way that they felt. Like it's in between loving someone and being in love with them.
Yes.
And I will always probably love that person.
Yes.
But I'm not in love with them.
Yes.
And I never really truly was in love with them.
Yep.
And so it was accepting that, and like realizing, okay, I will always probably love that person. They were a beautiful soul, and it's okay to always love that person, but to really love them is to fully let them go, and let them don't interfere. Let them fully be there. Don't do anything.
That's a very powerful realization, to be sub-30 and realize that. For some people, you know, I'm sure there's some people in their 70s there that maybe, or they haven't even got that revelation in life yet about love, and how deep love is, and how, you know, how complex it is. But like, in you understanding that, it's very freeing, because it's something that you have been trying to reconcile within yourself.
I was like,
there's just such a high level of confusion, frustration, but still persistence of the emotion. You're like, I'm trying to kill this, but it's not dying. And you can spend your whole life trying to kill that emotion and take away from you being present.
And try to run away from it, or do other things to suppress it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, people can live their whole life trying to come to terms with it, when the answer is just to be like, it's okay.
It's okay.
How crazy is that, though?
It was
That's
crazy.
insane.
And it was so beautiful and sad because
painful, terrible.
I was
that's
hysterical.
terrible.
I'm laying
That's
back.
like witnessing. That's like death. That's like experience. That's you had to mourn, like reconcile those emotions. That's a very painful thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it just was right there, and I went through the whole slideshow. But then it turned into, I saw the baby girl again.
No way.
I saw her.
So talk to me. Talk
So
to me.
clearly.
Wait, bro. Keep
So
going.
clearly.
Keep going. Keep
and
going.
I saw her, and
This time, what was it like when you saw the baby girl again? What was the situation? Were you sitting down? Were
It was
you
the
walking,
same. It was the same situation when I talked about the mountain as you, and I sat with myself. But this time we're like, okay, like put her on my shoulders. We're walking around, like saw like her birth. Kind of saw like
what?
Yeah. So I saw the whole and it was just like it was so clear. It was so clear that I was like,
Was it a natural birth or?
Yeah.
So you were like,
I was in the hospital.
You
like,
carried her like she.
It was literally there. It was just.
So I'm curious. How deep was this vision? Was it that you saw on the birth one? What did you remember seeing like prior to the birth, like leading up to the hospital,
No.
or it was just
It was just in the hospital room.
scene?
It was just like it wasn't that the vision wasn't that. It was more like just scenes.
Yeah, you got it.
It was scenes. It wasn't like. Okay.
So nothing was live. Like there was no
No.
situation where they gave you the baby and it's
No,
like.
it was just me, just like kind of watching from like a third person perspective.
Did you grasp a name or no? Like did you just know it was a girl? It was a girl.
It was a baby girl.
That's
And it was the same baby girl I saw
blonde.
before. Yep. And then like I see myself on this like farm/ranch. I see.
Do you remember what color her eyes were?
No.
Okay.
I really don't see her face.
Yeah.
I see her hair.
Hair, yeah.
And that's it.
Her skin complexion lighter than yours though?
No.
Darker?
Like kind of like I
mean
mean
you now.
Yeah, like kind of like me now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just saw it so clearly, and that made me cry even more because it was just so beautiful. And
because then it was like, well, although I lost this
is
there's
future.
so much things that are coming to live towards. Like although this pain and this love is painful, it's like lost one woman, but now I got a girl.
I know it's coming. It's without question. I just know it's so real. And then the girl actually came back in the cacao ceremony.
No way.
Yeah, so that's another later.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So this was ceremony 2, and then it kind of led into more of just gratitude for like you, your family, your little shalape, like your new boy, like just the people. So it was sad at first.
I appreciate that, man. Like
it was,
the fact that I was even considered in all of this is amazing,
it was very sad at first because I had the realization of like, okay, you took something for granted. You had somebody who you were their world, like you were everything to them, and you didn't even know. So you're too oblivious, too naive, too egotistical to realize that, which I needed. Because now, if I ever have that moment again with somebody, I know what that is.
You grasp
and
it with
grasp
two
how
hands
important, and I'm not gonna let that go ever again. So it was awful and sad, but it was also so beautiful.
Yes.
And it turned into seeing the baby girl, and then it turned into gratitude for the. I think, I texted you while I was there. I was like, hey, like, love you, man.
I was surprised. I was like, I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to take you away from what you're doing, but.
Yeah, and so.
But no, I appreciate that text, man. It was, bro. I was taken aback. Bro, that was very humbling to receive that text that we were even considered in light of what was going on.
Because that's something I really worked on too, is just manifesting relationships, and I'm in such a blessed state where I don't have enough time for the people I have in my life.
Yeah.
So I gotta be very strategic and just kind of realize, especially the season picking up, is like I gotta be intentional with it and just do a better job planning, time management. It's gonna be possible. I know it is. But I'm just so blessed in relationships, and it turned into seeing this baby girl, seeing my future family, seeing.
Wait, it's on the future family?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I just saw the girl.
Same flannel. You had the flannel
yeah,
on, the lumberjack red and black flannel.
I had the jack
sleeves rolled up.
Forearms is like my pickup truck with the Apollo fuel on it, and I like driving up to this barn. Then there's our podcast studio on the top. There's a gym.
Dirt road or no or grass?
It's like a pebbles.
Pebbles,
yeah. And then there's a gym at the bottom, and then there's our podcast studio with nice leather chairs up top in the barn, and then there's like the main house. But then gratitude for relationships, like all the beautiful people I had in my life, my family, my friends, just like I'm so blessed, and it was so beautiful. And I'm just sitting there,
taking it
crying, like tears of joy coming. The song was so profound, and it's cool because they shared the playlist with us.
No way, so you can go there.
So I go there. I listen to that song at least 5 or 6 times a day.
You can go there.
I try to go there every morning.
Yeah.
Because it was just so beautiful, and they talk about integration a lot, and that's something I'm really trying to be mindful of.
Integrate into your life.
So that was ceremony 2. And then I think in between that we had a holotropic breath work.
Okay.
So it's just breathing.
Okay.
Nothing else. No drugs. Nothing. just breathing. I'm like, it's breathing. I'm skeptical, whatever. Again, breath work, if you do it, do it in a safe setting. Do it with someone who's, don't just do a YouTube video by yourself, breath work.
Wow.
Because you actually get DMT experiences from it, which could be actually more profound than mushrooms.
Yeah.
So do it in a safe setting. Do it with like a sitter or whatever. But so I go into it and like, it's breath work. I'm not gonna get anything. So again, same setting. It's like middle of the day, like same setting. Like we're on our like mattresses, and they're like, hey, before we do this, like we're gonna come around and like we might touch you. If no one wants to be touched, just let us know.
Wow.
But if you don't mind, then like we're gonna come around and touch you just while you're doing this. I'm like, okay, you can touch me. I don't care.
Whatever.
And so I'm doing the breath work, and it's like 10 minutes in, it's like aggressive, like kind of Wim Hof style breathing.
Yeah.
And like 10 minutes in, like your mouth is gonna get dry. You might get like your hands might clench. So like 10 minutes in, I'm like, this just sucks. Like this is like hardcore breathing. My mouth is dry, like whatever. But then after like 10, 11 minutes, I kind of got in the zone.
Oh wow. And
they're like, okay, it's gonna be like a roller coaster. We're gonna come up and we're gonna bring you down. So I'm coming up, and like again, probably 25 minutes into this aggressive breathing, I start to feel like I'm vibrating.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like I'm like my arms are like on a wave like this. I feel like I'm vibrating, and I feel like I'm rising up like to like a light bluish white light. I literally feel like my body's lifting up, and I feel like I'm vibrating. And then I get a feeling in my knees, and it really feels like an electric shock.
That's crazy.
But then the feeling goes down. I realize it's someone's hands. They touch my knees.
Yeah.
So someone was going around. My eyes are
grounding
closed
you back
and
in,
touching my knees down to my. I'm like, oh, someone's touching me. I felt like I just got shocked.
Bro.
And then they're like, okay, we're gonna come down. I'm like, no. Like mentally, I was like, I want to keep going. Like, this is a beautiful experience. I feel like I'm rising up. This is cool. And so
ascending. I'm ascending.
You know, it felt literally like vibrating up. I literally felt it was so crazy.
You're like 8 hours of breath work loading. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's only half hour.
You're like, bro, I'm gonna have to do this again for half hour to get to this point.
Yeah, so I was kind of bummed, like, oh, I was just kind of going there. But the coolest thing, it was so beautiful. Like I felt more in touch with God in that moment. I felt like I was rising up to whatever that was. It felt just like so alive. And just I felt my whole body. I felt like I was vibrating, just realizing like the presence of a higher power and just like connecting to that just from breath.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was rising up, like heaven, whatever that was. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever that experience is. For me, I kind of felt like I was in touch with like my soul and like God in that moment. And the cool thing was after at lunch, they're going around like I was the person who touched me. I'm like, yeah, I felt like I was vibrating. She's like, yeah, you were vibrating.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what?
Oh,
like, how crazy is that? Like, I wasn't just imagining that. Like, I literally was vibrating.
Yeah.
I actually was vibrating. So that was the like a holotropic, just breathing.
That's wild.
No drugs, just breathing. And that was such a profound, beautiful experience. And then we went into our last night of the ceremony, which is another night ceremony. But this day, I kind of set myself up for failure. Like, I woke up early, probably like 5 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work out before meditation and yoga. So
you're gonna be super sore.
I worked out. I didn't go crazy. I did like a circuit, like similar to what I did the show on the beach workout. I did that actually in the gym. I did a circuit, and then didn't eat yet. Went right into the meditation / yoga. Then I ate, and then after eating, I did a bunch of work. Like pool work is like the first day I did real pool work because I had to submit payroll. I had to answer some emails, and I'm like in it. I have my 2 screens set up, and like I'm like chugging away doing work. And I'm like, oh crap, like the ceremony's starting soon. And so I'm kind of now rushing to going into the ceremony. And in hindsight, that was the worst thing I could have done. Because at the first ceremony, I was dancing on the beach, had a beautiful thing. So this time I was like rushing and like kind of like getting everything like
flustered.
Flustered, like super, like stressed, like kind of stressed. And so I go into the ceremony and then I'm like, okay, now I can finally relax. So I'm like, okay, bring it on, like, I want to feel it. And I go the highest dose I've done yet. And an hour goes by, and they come around like, hey Thomas, how you doing? I'm like, honestly, I really don't feel it. And I go, I took a lot. And they're like, okay. Like, he goes back, talks to the shaman, he brings me more, and like another half hour, he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, honestly, I really don't feel it. So he goes back and brings me more, and now I'm at like a crazy dose. I'm at the heroic dose above that. I'm at like 9.5 grams of mushrooms, which is a lot of, like, again, don't do it, but it's a lot of mushrooms.
Like Tyson,
a normal
a handful.
A dose.
It's a handful, probably.
A dose is 3.5, like an actual dose.
No, I'm saying, like, remember you saw the podcast when Mike Tyson just had a whole mouthful.
I didn't see that, but this is like it was the most out of anyone in the group. I'm on 9.5 grams, and so the shaman then comes over. She's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Honestly, I don't feel it. Like this happened." She's like, "It might." She's like, you gotta maybe approach it differently. Because I'm just like waiting there. I'm like, I had a stressful day. I'm like, just like hit me. I want to feel it. You know, like bring it on. She's like, maybe approach it from like gratitude or is there anything that you're hiding from? Like, I'm like, no, like, I'm not really hiding from anything. I'm like, I just want it to happen.
Yeah.
She's like, maybe approach differently. So everyone's in it, and like, I'm
Right.
kind of like, I started to get upset. I'm like, oh, this is my last night. This is the last time I'm gonna be doing the ceremony. I don't feel anything. Like, I still don't feel sorry for myself.
Yeah.
But then, like, I remember she said, like, be grateful. So I'm sitting there, and I start to send like gratitude out for all the people in the room. Like, I hope this person has a great experience. I hope this person has a great experience. I'm so grateful for the workers here, the staff. Everyone's been so beautiful, like such great people. And so she comes over again, and she's like, how you doing? I'm like, I start to feel, well, I tell her I don't really feel it, but her face kind of, I see that she's like, becomes like an old person. Like, literally, like, I see like an old, like, wise Indian person. Like, I'm like, I don't feel it. So she's like, I got something for you. I'm like, what do you got? And she's like, I thought you might, I wanted to do this before, but I wasn't sure if this was needed, but I think it is. It's called rape.
Okay, what's that?
And so again, music's blasting, it's
Yeah.
dark, and she's like telling me like, okay, I'm gonna blow this stuff into your nose.
Wow.
You have to do each nostril. You gotta get your bucket because you might throw up. And I'm like, everything inside me is like, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I'll just like sit here and not experience it. Like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
no. But I was like, going back to that moment, it's like, you're scared.
Golly.
You gotta do it. You gotta trust. You gotta, like, this is like, you get that tingling, that nervous
Yeah.
energy, and everything they want me to do it. But I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So she comes over, she loads up like kind of like a horn looking thing. She puts like this paste in it and goes, she's like, okay, I'm gonna do the first nostril. She's like, put it in your nose. I put it in my left nostril. Goes, blows it up. It's like cayenne pepper going into my brain. My left eye starts tearing. And she's like, we gotta do the other one. So I stay there. She does the other one. And then literally like just tears because like it's like spicy. And then I get my bucket and I start sneezing violently in the bucket.
And then
Thank God I didn't throw up. But then I start rising up and the mushrooms start kicking in. And I'm just sitting there, I start crying because I'm just so joyful, present, and like just so grateful. And then I start like bobbing again, and like so rape is actually it's like ceremonial tobacco that it's big like the indigenous.
Just get the blood flowing.
Yeah, Native American population. So, and then the rest of the experience was beautiful. Then they opened up at the last night. It's the first time it's like, hey, you guys could go up and dance the last half hour. Just don't dance with each other. So then I start like really an hour prior I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna lay here and like not experience anything. This is it. But then I did the rape. I trusted her, like had faith, and then had a beautiful experience. I started dancing. Like it just other people were dancing, just laughing, having a good time, and it was such a beautiful experience. And that experience, getting out of that ceremony, taught me like, okay, one, life is beautiful because I experienced immense joy, but having faith and trusting and like, you know, letting go of whatever, just like have faith that this will work out. And I was tense because like everything in me, she's like, I couldn't even hear what she was saying. She's like, you might throw up, like this is gonna burn your nose, you're gonna want to jerk back, and I'm like, it's dark, I barely hear what she's saying. I'm like, what, am I gonna throw up?
You're already tripping.
Yeah, and I so I'm like everything didn't want me to do it, but I was so glad I did, and that was that faith. And it was a beautiful experience, and then I documented it after, and then again watched the sky, and I was sitting down like watching the sky, and I saw my first ever shooting star.
No way.
First time I ever seen.
What did it look like?
It was just like a flash of light going across the sky.
What?
And it was like beautiful, and like I know again people.
Was it slow or super fast?
It was medium.
Okay. So you kind of saw it dragging.
Yeah, I saw it dragging.
I thought it was like.
I never seen a shooting star in my life.
Me neither. I never did.
The sky is so beautiful down there, regardless. But the mushrooms.
Was it that all the other stars now was like a background and you just saw it go through like other stars and stuff like that?
It was crazy.
And it felt like it was right in front of you.
Because literally the sky, like the sky there, regardless, because it's like so no real light pollution is
clear.
It's probably like 5 times like clearer than here.
Wow.
But
and then, it's pretty clear up here too.
Yeah, and then put the mushrooms, it feels like the sky's like brought like 10 times closer. So you see stars that didn't even know you existed. So it's yeah. It just really heightens things, so that was a beautiful experience. So then,
how did the moon look like out there?
Well, it was a new moon, so it really didn't see much moon. But that was beautiful, and that was a really like the rape, like her, like again they cared so much. They kept coming over, checking in on me, like how you doing, like all this.
It's funny that you look like an older person.
Literally, like I saw her, like I felt like you envision like an old shaman, and I literally saw like this old soul like in her. It was just like she aged like 50 years like that. It was so cool. And then.
But she didn't look scary though. She just looked that older person.
Yeah, older. It wasn't like a ghost or anything. It's like an old soul, which I felt she was. Yeah. And then the last ceremony was a cacao ceremony. And I'm like, okay, this is just chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like real good like chocolate because Costa Rica has like really
The
fresh
best
cacao.
chocolate.
Yeah, like really unroasted, like local, organic, all that stuff. And so like we're sitting around, we do meditation before, and we start like we just again no breakfast or anything, so we just drinking the chocolate. We did meditation. And
Did it taste good? Did it taste sweet?
Oh, it was so good. They actually put a little honey in it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was delicious because there's no sugar. The whole week there was no
So
sugar.
your body's like.
It was delicious.
Like,
I was like, had like 10 more cups, and like we're sitting there, and then they're like, they went through like a 7-layer gratitude practice. Like,
wow.
Be grateful for yourself, be grateful for your relationships, be grateful for the earth, be grateful for, like I think I said yourself, right? But all like 7, and I think I got to like relationships, and then myself. Again, just cacao. I start bawling.
Wow.
Start bawling, and then I see the future family again. I see the little girl. And I'm just like sitting there, like again, everyone else is going through it. And I'm just crying, like a beautiful, blissful cry. I'm like, cacao, this is just chocolate.
Yeah, it's chocolate, yeah.
But like creating the meditation, the ceremony around it, we're all in a circle and like send love to everyone around you. It was just, and realizing like you don't need the drugs to have a beautiful experience. It could just be the cacao, it could be the breath work, it could just be in a beautiful spot. And it was so beautiful. Like I journaled about it. It was just like I felt so much love, like gratitude for the people in my life, for myself, for being like just being alive. I'm just through the experience I realized like, and I knew this before, but I'm just lucky to be here. Like I should after the bacteria, after breaking my neck,
puts you.
I shouldn't really be here, and like and be able to go there and do this experience. Most people don't have the time, don't have the resources to ever do something like this. So I was so tremendously blessed to go, and yeah, and that was Friday, and then Saturday we said goodbye, hugged everybody, and and it was just
it's a life-changing experience too.
But the key now is integrating it.
Okay, so talk to me about that.
And they talk a lot about that, like how are you going to integrate what you learned or what you got into your everyday life. And luckily I did video diaries. I journaled a lot while I was there, so I had that information.
Yeah.
But, and I've kept a yoga practice. I've tried to do yoga at least once or twice a week.
Okay.
And that like the yoga where I go, they has like kind of like meditation into it, so it forces myself to get into that space. And so yeah, and then in the morning I've been more intentional. I do this it's like Tony Robbins called priming.
Okay.
It's a mix of like kind of like the Wim Hof style breathing with like a gratitude and stuff, and like it brings me back to the experience. Like the first I think 2 days I did it, I started crying again, like a beautiful cry. And so yeah, so I'm trying to keep that like integrated. And it was cool. The last add this too. So Friday we had the fire.
Yes.
We put a fire.
Oh, a big fire pit, and everybody surrounded.
And they gave us all our notes back.
No way.
They gave us all our notes back.
So how was that? When you got your note, what happened? Like,
it was like I accomplished everything I wanted to work through while I was here. I wanted to be excited and want to live again. I wanted to have faith and believe everything was going to work out and be figured out. I wanted to let go of my past and move on. And it all checked.
Literally everything checked.
And then I just threw it in the fire. And we all threw it in the fire.
Oh, snap. That's so cool.
And then we had the static dance. Once again, just like a DJ, like all these old people, like we're all
vibing,
sober, and we started just like dancing, having a good time. And just like showing that like you don't need drugs to have a good time. You don't need that. And like again, I just like being free, just being alive. Like that was part of my thing too, is being free, like not caring, just being my true self, which I know is beautiful. Like being positive, optimistic, joyful, cheerful, like bringing good energy, and like just being free. And so like going into that dance, I was just like being free. Like again, we're all can see each other, and we're just like dancing like goofballs like around, like these old guys like wiggling around, like. But it was just like
old guys can move though, man. They got like cool facial expressions.
And the younger guys like doing like cartwheels and stuff.
Wow,
like, yeah. So it's like
dude.
people. Yeah. So it was cool.
Dope.
And it was just such a beautiful like experience, and the people, the facility, everything was top notch. So food was great. Versus me was huge. But how they created a space where it's like you felt super comfortable, safe. Again, like they were just everything like supported, and like didn't want to like say you should feel this, you should go through this, like you should think this way. It's like, hey, you have your own experience. This is your own journey.
And then you even further amplify that by not going in with any premonitions. You really just went open-minded.
Open-minded.
So like, talk me through like what it was like coming back, the flight back and arriving in New Jersey and going back to your apartment for the first time. How was that?
So I'm in the airport, and I'm like, that was a dream. It really felt like a dream. I could not have asked for a better place, better people, better experience, like everything. Like I would just go there. The place itself was beautiful, like top notch. Like the ocean, I was boogie boarding. I taught old people, like 70-year-olds, how to boogie board. They're boogie boarding in their life.
Dope.
I'm out there teaching them how to boogie board. I had like boogie board clinics going on. It's just like, just great conversations with like the people, like the food. Like it was just like. I literally felt like I was in a music video. Like there's one, it's called like Duke Damont. It's like I Got You. I literally like I played that. I was like, that was my week.
That's
like waking up and the sun shining. You walk out to the beach. You jump in the pool or you jump in the ocean. They had a saltwater pool there. It was like birds chirping. There's iguanas around. Like it really was. I felt like I was in a movie. Like I felt my life was. I'm like, did that just really happen?
Did that actually just?
You can't.
I can't make it up.
Fresh
it up. Food, fresh fruit,
and And it was just so much gratitude because I am so blessed and grateful, one, to be able to go there, to have that experience. Like, because most people never do that in their lives.
And their whole life. I mean, you see 70-year-olds there. They barely made it to that experience, You think about that. And you're also thankful that they even had that opportunity. Even the gratitude for them. Yeah.
We have a group
I'm
chat.
sure you think in your head, like, bro, what if I wait until I'm 70 to do this or something like that?
Yeah. Like, you don't know. And it's...
You guys have a group chat still?
Yeah, we have a group chat. Like they still post and talk about like integration, like because a lot of them traveled on. Like they're sending pictures, like hey, I started journaling about my experience. Like I'm still working through it. Because some people had some crazy stuff. They met like entities, like they went to different dimensions. Like they had really.
Wait, so someone actually went to different dimensions? Can you talk us through one of this?
I don't know. He didn't get into it. He was just so shell shocked.
Packing everything.
He's like,
do you know what the guy did for a profession? What his life was?
Well, he was a lawyer.
Oh snap, bro! But if you think about, I'm just saying, like on a very surface level, when you think about a legal profession, like there are laws of gravity, there are laws. So it's like even the fact that his mind's like that, it's like bye bye. Like the mind that he could go there, like it's true that he probably went to a different dimension.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
And the cool thing is, like, he's had a meditation, breath work practice applied for 50 years. So I think that's why he was able to go so deep. And he never did any psychoactive drugs before. So I think he was so in tune with his body.
That it was next level. It was just
that he was able to unleash that thing. Because I believe, again, this is my perspective, not true or not, I don't think, at least on mushrooms, you don't see anything that you're not supposed to see. So like you only see what you're ready to see.
Yeah.
That's my perspective on it. Could not be people could say that. So I think he was so like spiritually sound with himself that he was ready to see like that crazy stuff. Versus me, I don't have a great spiritual life. I have a lot of life to experience. It'd probably take me decades to get through that. With mushrooms. Maybe if I did ayahuasca, I could. But like,
and he's still trying to like come to terms.
He's still unpacking it. He's like.
He's like in the 70s?
In the 70s, like, I'm forever changed. Like, I still don't, like, literally in our integration circle, he's like, I still, like, I don't know even what just happened. Like, he was just in shock. He's like, it's going to take me years to decode that.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's crazy because, like, people have such different experiences.
Was he happy, though?
Oh, he was great, yeah. It's cool because, like, again, this guy's been spiritually sound, like, meditation has, like, teachers, all this stuff, and, like, the Tibetan traditions for so long, and now he's like
taking it back. He's like,
I literally just went to a different universe.
He's like, I don't understand. He's like, I know nothing.
Literally met entities, like other entities.
Other spirits, right?
Or spirits or whatever beings.
Yeah. And what did he say? Did he say that he talked to any of them? Or
he did, but I don't know. He
didn't want to share it.
Yeah, because
he just said, was he very cold when he talked? Was he like, I saw things? I saw them.
I think he was just still in shock.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So it was. I mean, it was just literally. I was in the airport and I was just like,
I can't believe I just went through that.
Like that was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just so beautiful.
Yes.
And the key now again is integration. Working on this and like I had so much positive momentum. Yes. I had positive momentum leading up to it. But now the other thing
much more positive
with psilocybin, which is a good or bad thing, is it creates new neural pathways.
Okay.
So your brain on mushrooms basically. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional. This is just my knowledge on it, and they spoke about this. Like, so basically, up until you're 25, like you kind of can like program your mind like easier. But once you reach a certain threshold, like you have the same routines, the same thought process, all that. But with psilocybin, it's neuroprotective. It's actually good for your brain.
Okay.
It increases BDNF, a brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So actually, it's good. It's actually a drug that's actually good for your brain.
Wow.
Unlike like alcohol or other drugs, actually good for you.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
by neural pathways, it means like things that otherwise were stubborn habits, you can then now break out of them.
100%.
Or it brings your brain age earlier to like, so you can form good habits.
Yeah, so that's why it's very good with people with like depression and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it helps them like create new positive thought loops instead of negative thought loops.
Literally.
Yeah, it literally helps wire new neuron pathways. Like, okay, like if you're always like, oh, life is awful, I'm miserable, all this, or you think all these negative things.
It literally creates another channel,
It's
another
like,
wavelength,
it's like
another
your,
vibration.
Yeah, it's like your brain
frequency.
becomes like putty again, and you can like move and create a new positive experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this was so profound, is because the setting, the environment, the positive atmosphere was
perfect.
Couldn't ask for a better
modeling
place.
what you
People
wanted to
said
do.
setting, and so it was perfect to set me up to okay, my brain was ready and like reopened to new positive neural connections,
And
like
you had the right setting.
at the
and
right
you
setting,
went for
and
it.
I went for it. And I'm like, I'm creating these new pathways, and now I'm just gonna keep staying that road. So now I like my sister's like, are you taking like a psychedelic teas? Like she's like, are you?
It's like, no,
I'm
I
just
don't.
like-
I was just like, no. Or you are you?
No. I don't want to.
Yeah, you're
That's
just
the thing.
like, I'm okay.
That's a
with
beautiful thing. Is like I had such a good experience. I don't want to take them again because I don't want to ruin it.
Because this environment might not be conducive.
It's not conducive. I'm never gonna get. It's like okay.
Also, there's no point. You've already got everything that you
I
wanted.
got everything I wanted, and like there's no point. Why would I take it again and like risk losing what I just made?
100%.
Because that's the
Also, your mindset has shifted because you realize that like that's not the whole point of this. The whole point is not to one up that negative experience. You
No,
know?
it's appreciate what you have and just be the quality of your life is the quality of your thoughts. And that helped me. Again, I don't think you need this, but for me, it helped me like really create those new neural pathways and realize like, hey, life is beautiful. You're lucky to be alive. Appreciate everything. You have beautiful people around you. You have your health. You're financially sound. You have like you're progressing. You have this podcast. Like you have business. You have new business. Family. Like I'm just so blessed, and so it's so much gratitude. That's where I'm coming from. And then, yeah, I've been so. I mean, and the cool thing is they shared the playlist, so I tap back into that. So like if I'm like I start again work it's super stressful the other day.
Bam.
Yesterday, I go for a walk. I put that in, and I'm back.
Reset. Yep.
But it's like catching myself in those times.
100%.
That's the key because it's so easy to fall back into fault patterns like getting a million phone calls, answering emails, getting caught up in that work stuff like I did, which kind of almost ruined my last ceremony.
Yeah.
Because of all the stress.
But that's a good thing because it again, nothing
Awakening.
changed, but it made you realize the effect of that in your life in general.
It's crazy how profound of like me not being present.
And also in a sense, you counteracting that stress because you can't go from really, really stressed to, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna relax right now. To your point, it's just like the coffee; you have to ease into it. So it's like maybe 3 hours before work, or like what I mean. When you're trying to unwind, you can't just unwind really hard for 30 minutes because when you talk about the mushrooms, you're just like dose me.
Yeah,
But it's like, nah, dude, that's not what it's all about, Because that in and of itself is not a good
healthy habit. No.
We talked about a lot today. Obviously, we there's a lot of stuff that we still need to unpack.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that you shared the little that you shared today because I'm excited to watch that video of your experience, and I really appreciate you guys listening because we're gonna really go into this because this is a really life-changing experience for Tom. Like, his whole perspective of life has changed profoundly, and not only that, like it's like he's also going into like a very busy time in his life in that his the pool season is opening. So we really get to see firsthand.
If I could carry this forward.
Yeah, exactly. If he can be a good steward of kind of like what he's been equipped with. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Sorry to cut it all short because I know there's a lot of questions, but we're gonna get to it.
Appreciate you all.
Yep.
Thank you.
That was deep. Yeah, my wife just
she's like, hey.
called.